Well, I think a great challenge. You talk about a veteran football team. That veteranness lays right there on that defensive front. I couldn't be more impressed. You even just go back through the last 2-3 years of this football team, and when they've needed to make a play, when good things have had to happen, that defensive line has spearheaded things. And so, I think you're getting maybe one of the best defensive lines in the country, and they play hard, they're consistent, they are going to play as hard as they can for as long as they can, and it's really impressive. So I got a lot of respect for them. Again, a lot of guys that have played a lot of football, and guys that they've got good depth on that defensive line. They rotate a lot of guys in, and all those guys are playing good football for them. Well, for me, it's being in this state now, a little bit over or right around 3 years. You're talking about, you're so impressed in this state with the passion that in the commitment and loyalty that these fan bases have for their universities. And I think that's maybe as impressive as anything that I've seen. And it's appreciative. And you talk about that loyalty and respect factor that these fan bases have, not only for their student athletes, but the pride that they have for their universities in general. It's really enjoyable, and it's one thing for me that I've really got a great deal of respect for, and just to be able to be a part of a game like this where it means so much, not only to the two institutions, but really the entire state, certainly rewarding to be a part of. Well, I think two things. First of all, I think number one, you talk about a veteran quarterback like Nate is. You're talking about a guy that, if you just say, hey, I'm going to take those tight ends away, he's good enough, and he's got good enough weapons around him that he's going to make you pay. And I would say first and foremost, their tight end position, outstanding. It's fun to watch those guys, the growth that those two have made in their program. They're playing really good football for them right now, and certainly did down the stretch run for them a year ago. But I think, again, it's like going against any really talented quarterback. You have to be multiple. You have to have the ability to do multiple things, and if you think you're just going to do one thing, then obviously they're going to beat you. So, I think we'll have the ability to be multiple, how we'll attack them in terms of defensive football and certainly situational football. But, a lot of credit goes to them, their team, and the growth that those two position groups have made, because they're both playing really well right now. Yeah, certainly had a good game in his entirety, a year ago. And I think the biggest thing for Marcel is, again, like some of these other guys that maybe had some successes and grew as football players last year, it's the opportunity to have success and have some failures along the way, learn from them, grow from them. You got to remember Marcel, really the first year ever getting meaningful reps at linebacker. That was it, and so he was able to, I think, really put together, and Marcel's a really smart football player, having the opportunity to put those pluses and those minuses together this offseason. How do I perfect my craft? How do I work? Marcel physically, he's changed his body. He looks bigger and better than he ever has. And so, I think he's a guy that's on a mission to become the best version of himself that he possibly can be. And I think those experiences have certainly helped him. But, he's certainly a guy that we'll need as we continue to move ourselves forward to be a leader and a catalyst for us on the defensive side of the football. Well, I think that's been when you have a football program and you start to, engage in building it the right way, and you have depth and you feel like you're growing on both sides of the ball, then that's where you really earn the right to get better. It's in those critical practices and those critical moments where your offense makes your defense better, your defense makes your offense better. This was the first time that I really felt, as we went into fall camp and really through spring practice, that you saw us making ourselves better because of the quality that both sides of the ball had the ability to kind of enhance on each other. And so, I thought that was really big for that some of those young guys on the offensive line to have to play against those guys all spring and certainly through the fall camp. And so, yeah, I definitely see that allowed growth. But again, until those lights come on, you got to make adjustments. You got to go out and play.